Hello buddy and welcome, I'm Comodin Cam, and today we're going to be ranking every Ravage design from worst to best. And who better to join me than Delta Tryon.
Hey, it's me, Delta. It's funny, I always think of Ravage as a dog, not because he is, but anytime my wife sees him, she goes, "That's a nice dog." And I'm like, well, I think it's a cat, so.
I've got my own Ravage at home. He is pretty much as close to Ravage as I'm going to get. He's evil, he's vicious, but he's nice to me, so it makes me feel like I'm sound.
Does he have a Decepticon emblem on his shoulder?
Oh yeah, and he also fits right into my chest.
Really? And he's got the missile pods. That's crazy. I'm going to need to see that.
Yep, he's pretty much the worst minicon you can ever imagine. Well, throughout 40 years, Ravage has actually had a wide range of unique designs, which is going to make this very interesting to look at. So without further ado, let's just dive straight into the tier names. And first up, of course, had to be...
Decepticons forever!
Now for the second tier... Now for the middle tier...
I've memorized the formula, so once I rip this up, there's no way the Decepticons can learn to make the antimatter. You're too late, Ravage. The information's already been destroyed.
Now for the fourth tier... You Kicked My Ravage, a great moment in the Skybound comics. And now finally, for the worst tier...
Ravage, eject.
Ravage, bad kitty.
First up is of course Generation 1. Ravage came of course with Soundwave, and honestly, I like the comic version a little bit better, but I do have the soft spot for the original Generation 1 artwork, and don't want to knock the cartoon design so much, but there's something about that G1 artwork to me that just stands out a little bit more. I like all the lining detail all over it.
I agree. I think the cartoon version is probably one of the most recognizable for us all, but no offense to it, it's probably my least favorite of them all. I kind of like the darker tones, and I definitely like the silver on his legs throughout this kind of original design. Also, I gotta say, the yellow eyes are my favorite. I know there's always a constant back and forth with should they have yellow eyes or red eyes. I think yellow works best for Ravage.
Of course, G1, the cartoon, is what we're used to, but it's quite strange for once I'm actually going with G1 artwork. It wouldn't be until Beast Wars where we would get Ravage in his robot mode, and he has a hell of a voice. He's definitely got an upgrade for this series. And I gotta say, this design to me, I have a toy of it.
Man, I grew up with Beast Wars. Beast Wars is my favorite, and when Ravage showed up, it was a spectacular moment for me. This character is the ideal male character you need in your life. He's got a deep voice, he's suave, he's handsome, he's ripped as hell. Man, put this guy up in the Decepticons Forever tier list right away, because this guy's perfect. He's got those pistols, he's doing flips. Man, this is the peak of Ravage.
Well, it's a shame that the McDonald's toy isn't.
This is a bad kitty for sure. It doesn't even look like a cat. This is nightmare fuel.
It's like an inflated frog or something. Next up is Tripredicus Agent. Now this is a redeco of Transmetal 2 Cheetor, but this is, I'm going to count it as Ravage because it's in the Ravage toy section on TF Wiki. A lot of people don't consider this Ravage, but I thought I'd just include one design at the very least, depending on how people feel about it. But right off the bat, I don't actually hate this. I kind of think the colours on it look pretty cool. To me though, it's like a hybrid version of that original Beast Wars Ravage. It's Transmetal, but it's also just a redeco.
Yeah, this definitely does not scream Ravage to me at all. That being said, I do think he looks really cool, and so I think that he kind of deserves to go in maybe the middle tier just because he's got that cool gold chrome, and I think the black and silver work. Even though I look at him, I don't think Ravage.
The next time Ravage would appear would be in the Unicron trilogy in Transformers Energon. This is a thing, he wasn't really a unique character, he was just like one of many henchmen in the series, which I always thought was kind of lame. He did get a couple of toys, there's different colour variants of them. I mean, Yeah, this is like the closest to Ravage you were going to get.
Yeah, it's funny because while I did grow up with Beast Wars, the first Transformers toys that I ever actually got were from Energon. And this Ravage, the white and black one, was one of the first toys I ever had. And I think that he's just got kind of a cool blockiness to him, and I honestly really like his weapons. I was not even aware of this sand blue and purple variant. I didn't even know that existed, but this one kind of holds a special place in my heart. I think he's a good boy, or kitty, whatever. Dog, cat thing.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. I don't know how to feel about the Vinyltech Ravage. This was a complete shock to me while researching for this video. I had no idea that they made Ravage into a car, and I actually don't know how to feel about it. A part of me think of it as like really cool, but it's that waistcoat that's a little bit off-putting to me, but heck, I like the vehicle mode. Vehicle mode's pretty cool.
You're right, Vinyltech is such a weird line. The car is awesome, and I kind of like the fact that how they make this character with his toy into Ravage is just giving him a Ravage head. But I think just the strangeness of it all is just almost a little off-putting to me. I think the You Kicked My Ravage tier is a little empty right now. I would feel confident putting it there if you do as well.
Well, at least with the alternators toy, they decided to embrace it. And honestly, this is a much better improvement. Still weird as heck, but still, regardless, at least it's better than what we had before.
Absolutely, and the fact that the vehicle mode that they chose for him is a Jaguar, I think is just perfect. This is, while it does look very messy and clunky in the cat mode, I think this is leagues better than the Vinyltech version.
I have no words. It's Combiner Wars Ravage. Dude is just a block. I don't like those arms.
Let's use the same logic we use for Vinyltech. It's just a toy that they put Ravage's head on. But because of that, because the toy is not as cool, I would actually put him in Bad Kitty even lower, because I feel like this guy's got absolutely no aura.
Alright, now let's dive into some comics, and we'll first talk about the IDW More Than Meets the Eye one, and this is just basically a brilliant enhanced version of that G1 Ravage. I just love the limbs on this cat. I mean, I love that face design as well. Really, really cool, and well, what can I say? He's just so badass.
Yeah, I absolutely love this one too. The tail has always kind of bugged me a bit. I've always felt that it's maybe a bit too long, but I can't even draw a straight line, so it's not like I could do any better. But I would put him in the upper echelons of pet him for sure. This is definitely a cat I would pet.
Well, I tell you what definitely is it, and I am so gutted that we never got to see it in the Fall of Cybertron game. We have Ravage, his unused concept art for the Transformers War for Cybertron game. This would have just been perfect. Of course, we saw the rest of his minions, Soundwave, but Ravage was always missing, and unfortunately, he just never made the cut. And I love this design so much. It's just so much great detail in it. It's so high moon. I love it.
This design absolutely needs a third-party figure. Please, somebody step in. Planet X, if you're still making toys, or whatever you're called now, please jump in and make this, because in my mind, you are correct. This is just a fantastic design. I love the neck. I love the head. Everything about this I love. I think it goes at the top in Decepticons forever.
Now, Ravage did have some toys in the airline continuity, and these are just terrible. The disc is just ugly to me.
Yeah, this is definitely the worst of the data discs. I actually kind of enjoy the data discs to an extent. I had the Laserbeak, and I thought he was fun. But yeah, this guy is definitely the worst of it. For me personally, the data disc alone takes him out of Bad Kitty and puts him into You Kicked My Ravage, but he's really teetering on that line.
Now, I'll tell you what's a massive block. It's the Kree Ravage. I feel bad for this dude. He doesn't even have any eyes.
Now, Cam, we may disagree here, but I think he's kind of cute.
Nah, I feel like I would accidentally step on it, and I just wouldn't notice. But, I mean, if you're going to go that route, I will respect that.
Well, we can meet halfway. Let's put him at the top of You Kicked My Ravage. I don't think he's too horrible.
Now, I tell you what's an abomination. It's the Ravage from the Beast Hunters line.
Yeah, I think the brown is doing a lot of disservice here. This was in that weird time of Transformers Prime where the toys just had to throw all these different colors on it. I feel like if this figure was black and maybe even a dark blue, it would be neat to have these different mini-cons that could attach to Soundwave's chest, but I think just a lot because of this ugly color. For me, this is also in the You Kicked My Ravage.
Well, I'll tell you what's also a bad kitty. The War for Cybertron trilogy Ravage. He's so chunky and his proportions are just wrong to me.
He's got a lot of junk in the trunk. One of the biggest travesties here is also the cannons that go on his back hips. They're tiny.
Now let's move into the live action movie Ravage, and he's had a couple of appearances. First up, of course, is Revenge of the Fallen in 2009, and I gotta admit, in 2009 I thought this cat was badass. I loved this. Of course, Soundwave just pooped him out and immediately he's causing trouble on Earth. I actually think this design was really cool, and it's very Michael Bay, of course, but it's actually one of the few characters that's the most accurate to a G1 design.
I actually really enjoy this design as well. It is very Michael Bay, but I think in a good way. That face always terrified me when I first saw it. That singular eye just peering into your soul. And I actually like not only the ears, but that they kind of gave him whiskers. This is just a really cool design. I would be scared to pet him though because he's so spiky, but I kind of feel he belongs in there somewhere.
Kind of wish that his spine didn't get ripped out by Bumblebee, because that was graphic. That was animal abuse. Well, his next appearance in the live action movies would be in Bumblebee in 2018. And I gotta say, this is definitely one for the fans. This is a fan pleaser one. And I gotta admit, they nailed it. Of course, we've already gave our praises for Revenge of the Fallen Ravage, but it's nice to have a G1 accurate, but also not so G1 accurate, because there's a lot of stuff about this Ravage that's different from G1. The color scheme, for starters, you know, a lot of red on this design. It's a good mix of that era while doing something new as well.
Yeah, this one is just, man, this one is just so awesome. I think it has that essence of Generation 1 to it, while also kind of bringing in that more simplified Michael Bay live action designs that we got from the Bumblebee movie. For me, this one, man, I don't know if I like this one more than the Fall of Cybertron design, but I personally do like it more than Revenge of the Fallen. So at least my vote would be to put it in between those two.
Next up, we have Shattered Glass Ravage.
Well, if I talk about what universe he's actually used in, I'm going to have to put him underneath the Bad Kitty category, and there's not even anything there. I would put it at the very bottom of You Kicked My Ravage. I like the colors. I understand the more cutesy face they're going for, but it's just really not for me.
I'm not against how the colors look on the Bumblebee movie Ravage. I just throw this in as a reference because there's been a lot of Shattered Glass Ravages. This is probably the best one out of them all because at least it somewhat works.
I have never seen this before. I actually think this is really cool.
Ravage's next appearance would be in Transformers Earthspark, once again as Soundwave's most loyal servant, and I gotta say, this design is awesome. I love the sharp edges all around this. The tail is so cool, the eyes, just a lot more color, and the purple like tint on it is just so sweet.
Yeah, this one to me is most cat-like in its design, kind of this thinner body. I love the vents on his shoulders. I wish he had yellow eyes, but yeah, this one is really cool, and I actually really like Soundwave, his design and his minions designs in Earthspark, so I think it bolsters that whole picture even more.
Now, Ravage is an Angry Birds, but he's not a bird, he's just a cat, yeah, as he should be.
He's got a strangely long neck, but I would pet him. I would say that he could go at the bottom of pet him, just because he looks like he's a good cat that's gonna sit there and you can just pet him and everything will be fine.
Now let's move into some fan art, because I want to celebrate all the great Ravage fan art out there. And first up is definitely something we should have had in Transformers Prime. GoopyLizard has given us an interpretation of how they believe Ravage would have looked in Transformers Prime. And I do dig this. I really do like this a lot. It's a shame that Ravage never appeared in the show. But heck, I think this is kind of close to how we could have imagined him in the show.
Yeah, originally the first thing that caught me off guard was the face, that there's no eyes, just that kind of line art. But with the photo of Laserbeak in the bottom, that reminded me that that's kind of what the minicons look like. And I love this idea that this Ravage would go on Soundwave's back and kind of almost create this cannon over his shoulder. I love the whiskers too. This is really, really solid.
Another design that is super solid and always produces great artwork, is by ShardikArt. This is very much inspired from the Bumblebee movie, but adding something brand new. Like, that face is terrifying. This is a Ravage you do not want to come across. Oh, it looks like he transforms into a vehicle mode as well, into a car, which is nice. So yeah, I don't want to imagine how big this Ravage is. This is terrifying.
Yeah, this is like the perfection of the alternators version of Ravage. This is awesome. I love this.
Well, we've got more designs of Ravage turning into a vehicle with Churino art. I like how everything sort of folds in together, and the fact that he's got a place for a little bike on the back of him. This is actually a cool little mini Ravage design. I really like this. But once again, seeing this terrorized on the street must be an absolute nightmare.
Yeah, this is very almost Dinobot inspired to me, just with the head. I love the fact that the bicycle kind of folds up into the back end of Ravage, and I also love the illustration that the artist has done here about water revealing Ravage's true color. It's such a unique idea that I just love.
Well, what I also love is pinupscream's design of Ravage. This is just Ravage having a good time, having a great day. And I gotta say, this is really cute and adorable.
That tail is huge. Man, if this was a toy, there's no way that'd be able to stand up without a stand.
Now, I've always wanted to know what Ravage would have looked like in Transformers Animated, and thanks to Red Fox 5KS, he has given us a pretty solid and, I would believe, accurate representation of how he would have looked in Animated. This just screams all the right parts of what makes an animated design work, and I love the slimness on this.
Yeah, this one really makes me think of that Beast Wars Ravage, which obviously is my favorite, and I love this character, this design, this drawing. It just has so much gusto and oomph to it that I just love. You know that this Ravage is walking around with his head held high and his shoulders going back and forth, and he's just talking down to everybody. All the Decepticons hate this guy.
Now, next design is by KalahanNikolai, and this is a Ravage that I'm not sure if I want to pet because I feel like I'll get cut, I'll get pricked or something, because he has sharp edges all over him. I feel like if you just stroke him, you're in for a really nasty cut. But so cool, so menacing. We've got the yellow eyes. I love it.
Love the yellow eyes. And this kind of curved design to the spines makes just my head imagine that this Ravage could almost transform or curl up into a ball and roll around as a spiky creature. It's a cool idea.
Right, next up we've got SpeedTuffe's design, and I really like this. He has got helicopter blades, and he is, well, his alt mode is a main rotor and engine that fits on the back of his Soundwave. I like that when it comes to his face, they've actually given him like a visor instead of eyes, which is actually a neat little touch. I do like that. We've not actually seen that yet on a Ravage design.
Yeah, I really like that too. It reminds me of the Revenge of the Fallen kind of unit eye, but I feel like this is done even better, like almost a windshield to a fighter jet in a way. I love it.
Well, next design we have is by ShardikArt, and the alt mode to me is just incredible. I like the fact that he turns into a nice, cute little kiddie boombox. This is very Revenge of the Fallen-esque as well, which I think is really nice, but a very more cartoony version, which I think is more age-appropriate than Revenge of the Fallen.
The difference between the cat face on the boombox and the cat face on Ravage himself is just absolutely terrifying, and I love it. And I also love that the tape itself transforms into a little mouse. That's I like that.
Well, next up we've got another great art piece by ViktorWilfong, who has given us a very, I would say, Earth version of Beast Wars Ravage. Like, I can imagine him looking like this if Beast Wars Ravage ever came down to Earth. That vehicle mode is really sweet and nice, and I do like that head sculpt. Just the whole posture and pose of the character is really, really cool. Definitely covert art.
Yeah, absolutely. I love kind of the teeth design on his cheeks, and I actually also really like his legs, how they kind of bend backwards and almost have these heel type proportions to them that make me think of a large cat or a panther. I love this, and I love the idea that he's a covert agent.
Well, our final design is by Diver Davy, bringing back that design of having a visor. Really, really neat. I like how they've kind of scaled him where he actually transforms, kind of like how Rumble and Frenzy do, like as a fully fledged robot. I like his Ravage mode. I like all of the blue on this. He just looks like a cheeky little gremlin.
I absolutely love not only the visor, but also that chainsaw blade on the back. I think it would be even cooler if it could kind of fold back and become the tail, but this is just awesome.
Well, all of these fan art designs are just superior, so of course they all belong in Decepticons Forever, because some of these designs are honestly better than official designs themselves.
I would agree with you. Hasbro needs to get some of these artists on lockdown and get them to work right away, and pay them fairly. Okay, can I actually, when I'm talking, can I add in one more for you to look at?
Bonus design!
The smallest Transformers ever, Ravage, we just have to talk about. I have to say, I think this guy's got to go in Decepticons Forever, and here's why. He's cute, he's small, he looks like Ravage, and you could put him in your pocket. You could take him wherever you go.
No.
Well, that's fair. I tried.
And there we have it, guys. Every Ravage design ranked from worst to best. Now, if I had to pick an all-time favorite, I'm gonna have to go with Beast Wars.
Yeah, I would have to agree. Looking at the designs, I do think the Fall of Cybertron one is my favorite. But the fact that it was never used and we really only have this one photo of it really kind of pushes it back from me. And I think that the Beast Wars representation of him as a design and as a character, even though it's very different from everything else, is just my favorite. It's the most memorable.
Huge thanks to Delta Trion for joining me. I'm a big fan of your content, and if you haven't already, guys, do check out his channel. He explains stuff just so beautifully, mostly on the Skybound comics, so definitely give him a check if you haven't already.
Thank you so much. I'm glad that's on record. Now I can play that to my wife anytime she bashes my videos.
Glad I could make a difference. Until next time, I've been Comodin Cam with Delta Trion.
See ya.